how does it feel to win this race?
Well, that feels terrific. I'll tell you, I got the greatest car owner and greatest mechanics in the world, boy. They just keep this thing running all day.
You drove a consistent race all day. Were you worried about Sam Hanks less than 20 seconds behind you?
Well, I was concerned about him, but I wasn't too much worried. I just wanted to keep this running.
Well, you certainly did a beautiful job, Pat Flaherty. And what are your plans now?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to go to church and thank God.
And I imagine you'll probably be trying to figure out some ways to spend all that money.
Oh, I sure have. My wife will figure that out.
This was the start in 1957.
Well, race speed will reach the boiling point now, fans. The cars will pass us like a jet rocket, and here they come. There's the green flag, and the race is on. The first annual 500-mile race underway. Leading the back into the turn is Pat O'Connor, picking up Bill Foch.
That is Pat O'Connor out in front, and here they come right by us. Pat Flaherty Aggravation in second, Saxon third. Now the ball moves. And still out front is Pat O'Connor. In second place is Ruttman now, as Sax is moving into third. And on down to Bernie Herman as they roll by us here.
Okay, Bob, here they come now, past the trees and coming down this way. And it's Pat O'Connor first. Bernie Aggravation. And Troy Ruttman. Doggone the rubber flag of the northeast turn.
On the northeast turn, they come into it. It's Pat O'Connor in front. And next to him, Bernie Aggravation in second. Now they go into the northwest turn, and here is Jim Shelton.
Well, that's quite a surprise that Aggravation is running second, and let's check him here.
It is O'Connor and Aggravation.
On his 12th try, 6 weeks short of his 43rd birthday, still the oldest winner to have received the checkered flag at Indy, Sam Hanks sped on his way to a big celebration.
Well, it's certainly a great thrill to see Sammy Hanks take the checkered flag, and there he is, the winner of the 500. What a great champion he's going to be. And here he comes around the southwest turn again for his extra lap. Sam Hanks winning the race by approximately 20 seconds. The same amount of time as behind the leader last year, Pat Flaherty, at the very same stage.
And then on to victory lane with the winner.
And Sam Hanks, congratulations, boy.
Hi, Charlie. Well, we finally did it. It took us a long time.
You know, Sam, I believe you're trying.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Sam, 3 pit stops. Had you planned on that all the way?
No, we didn't. We kind of thought we'd only make 2, but I saw the rubber was going pretty fast to stay with that guy Russo. So I just figured, well, we got to let her all hang out. And if she uses 4 sets, well, she does. So we're real lucky to get 2 on the 3.
You know, Sam, you must have worked your ulcer overtime because last year you finished second, only 21 seconds behind, and this year Jim Rathman was on the same lap with you.
Yeah, I know it kind of was a reverse position, but I love to be on the other end, believe me.
Cigar-chomping Jimmy Bryan, a 3-time national driving champion, was picked as the favorite in 1958. He had the same revolutionary lay-down engine car that the now-retired Sam Hanks had driven to victory the year before. Bryan commented about the role of favorite.
You like to be picked by somebody, or do you feel at all jinxed or superstitious about it?
Well, I don't feel jinxed or superstitious about it, Sid, but I wish they'd leave me alone. They picked several riders that picked me about 3 years and hadn't done me a bit of good.
Well, maybe I better not pick you then.
Well, let's not this year.
Well, I think everybody certainly feels you should have a mighty good chance. They say the car and the driver combination is what wins this race.
When the race began, starting in single file from the pit lane for the 2nd year in a row, a mix-up occurred, and the first row of cars passed the pace car and pulled away from the field. We were amazed to look out on the track and see just 3 cars going by.
The pace lap is completely confused now with the first row just going by us, as Bernie Herman reported it on the back stretch. The first row of cars, Dick Rathman in the McNamara Special, Ed Elysian in the John Zink Special, and Jimmy Reese in the other John Zink car are just going slowly, waiting for the rest of the field to catch them. Bill Vanderwater, the official starter, is out there with the green flag, and they're trying to get the entire field together. So, Jim, what do you see up there on the north turn now?
Well, Sid, what I saw was 97, 5, and 16, Rathman and Elysian and Reese, and they were way ahead, but the race must be on, and Sid, pick it up.
Well, Jim, I hate to disappoint you in the fans, but the yellow flag is out, and Bill Vanderwater says the race is not on. He has not called for the green flag. The boys were set to go, but the first line wasn't there. The pace car pulled off, and now Sam Hanks driving the pace car comes to a halt at the end of the pit area. So we're going to have a start of a race without a pace car, without the world's fastest flying start with the pace car for the first time in the history of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
After an extra pace lap, the race began, and Ed Elysian passed Dick Rathman down the backstretch to take the lead. As they came into turn 3, Lou Palmer, making his Speedway Network debut, was waiting to describe the color. Instead, his first words uttered worldwide were unexpectedly dramatic.
And we've got an accident here. Car number 5. Car number 5, the Zinc Special, is the first to wreck. Another over the wall. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars piled up here on the northeast turn. The 54 Novi into the infield. Car number 19 in the infield. 68 now down into the infield. And it's almost impossible to identify the others. Out of car number 5 now is Ed Elysian and car number 91 against the wall. That is all that we can see at the moment. Further down the track, there are still others. One car has left this track, Sid, and did go over the retaining wall. That's all of the information that we can give you at the moment. We will check each and every car for you and report on all of them as soon as we can.
After the fatal accident involving the very popular Pat O'Connor, a pall was cast over the speedway. But the race was not stopped. It was run for 25 minutes under the yellow caution flag, minus almost 1/3 of the starting cars, while the track was cleared of debris. On the 148th lap, a rookie from Houston, Texas, named Anthony Joseph Foyt, hit an oil slick and blew a tire, forcing him to drop from the race. He finished 16th and said he'd probably be back to try it again someday. A running battle for first developed between George Amick and Jimmy Bryan in almost identical cars. But it was Bryan who persevered and finally won.
They're real wonderful. I still think I'm dreaming, but the only thing that makes it bad is the crash down there on the first lap. As yet, I know nothing of it, but I know it was bad, so it does mar the victory today, believe me.
Well, Jimmy, no matter what happens, you will go down in the ranks of all-time greats. What are your plans for the rest of the year, or is it too soon to think about that?
I think I'll rest a while now.
As we moved around the track on the pace lap in 1959, we had to interrupt Bernie Herman on the backstretch because on the starting line, the defending champion, Jimmy Bryan, was fighting to get his car underway.
Come those cars. It's a short-sleeve crowd watching a Gingham dress. Bernie, let me interrupt you. I'm sorry, but something very exciting has happened here in the main stretch. Number 6, Jimmy Bryan, last year's winner. The car that won the race in 57 and 58 is not started. The cars are now coming around the north turn for the pace lap, and the car is being pushed toward the pits. J.C. Agajanian, who had cars here himself, ran out in the track. About 20 people have come out to help. They're still pushing, coming into the southwest turn, trying to get the car going.
That day, the lead changed hands 13 times between Johnny Thompson, Pat Flaherty, Jim Rathman, and Roger Ward. But in the last stages, it was Ward who controlled the race and led for the last 290 miles. As the day wore on, our race driver authority, Freddie Agabation, who had just retired from racing the year before, gave us some insight into driver strategy.
Freddie Agabation's been watching this Ward and Rathman duel, and how do the drivers feel at this point? Are they cautious about one another, Freddie?
Well, frankly, Sid, what's actually taking place out there is a little duel between Rathman and Ward. They're checking each other out, see how much one has over the other, and I think they're just about done checking. They'll be racing real hard pretty soon.
How do they find this out? What are they looking for in the other man?
Well, they finally pass the man and then set a pace ahead of them and see if they get past. In other words, if Ward now can get by Rathman, Rathman will have to up his speed a little bit more if he's got any more left. And they're checking each other out, and they're almost at a conclusion now. I'd say within about another 15 laps, they'll be running out there like a trophy dash, just like gangbusters.
Finally, it was Roger Ward, followed by Jim Rathman, 24 seconds behind, who steered his leader car special into victory lane.
Here we are at victory lane. Roger Ward pulling in after winning the 43rd annual Indianapolis 500-mile race. He's coming in being congratulated by his wife. They're pushing him around. He's getting a kiss from his wife. Roger Ward, we'd like to get a question from you for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Network. How do you feel, Roger Ward? Never felt better in my life. I'll say one thing. Well, thank you. Wonderful. There might be better drivers here, but there's certainly no better cars. I've got the best machine, the best crew, and the best owner in the world, believe me. I'd like to say hello to my youngsters out in California, Roger and David, and well, I'm just so happy I don't know what to say.
In 1960, racing's equivalent of the 4-minute mile was almost broken when a rookie, Jim Hurtubise, swept around the famous oval at the incredible speed of 149.601 miles per hour. 1960 was also the first of 2 straight years when Eddie Sachs, the colorful clown prince of auto racing, captured the pole position. We talked with Eddie after he accomplished this for the first time.
Well, I knew I was driving towards victory lane, all right, and I just got so elated and so happy that I just
started crying, and just sentimental. I'm a sentimental type.
So a tough, hard-boiled race driver, as far as the average person is concerned, a guy who drives around here 2.5 miles in just a couple of winks over a minute, can cry when he sets a record.
Well, I realize that I'm following in footsteps of Rex Mays and Ted Horns and all of the greats of automobile racing, and someday I'd like to be cherished as they are cherished now.
We talked further with Eddie Sachs about the difference between going 149 and 150 miles per hour.
1/3 of the time that it takes to wink your eye will make 150 miles per hour for Jim Hurtubise. If he can just find now 1/3 of the wink of an eye, he'll have hit the 150 mile per hour mark, and he'll be in orbit.
One of the hard luck drivers and one of the most popular was Tony Bettenhausen. This year, Tony was trying to qualify for his 14th race, and we asked him how it felt to have to wait a full year between attempts to achieve his dream.
This is something kind of hard to explain, Sid. Actually, the first year I came here, I wanted to win the race, but each year now, it's getting just a little bit tougher. We're getting more good equipment, and we have more of the drivers today that have actually graduated out of the midget field as I did. And I think that racing today is tougher than it is any time I've ever driven.
The dazzling new rookie, Jim Hurtubise, missed going 150 on his time trial run by 0.4 of a mile an hour. 35 years before, Pete DiPaolo electrified Indy fans by winning the 1925 race at an average speed just over 100 miles per hour. We talked to Herc about his remarkable run.
Jimmy, we had you on the air during the month here, and you were talking about perhaps beating Eddie Sachs' record, but you weren't bragging about it. Today, did you have it in your mind definitely?
No, I was, like I told you the other day, said I was going to try and go as fast as I could. And the fellows, my pit crew, they come out each lap I went around and give me an okay sign, so I didn't know how fast I was going. Actually, until the last lap, they give me the 149. And, well, I didn't think I was going that fast, but I guess I was.
In one of the most exciting finishes ever, Roger Ward and Jim Rathman, who've been battling nose to tail, came around for the 190th lap, and Rathman regained the lead for 4 laps, a lead which had changed hands 29 times throughout the day. Ward regained the lead for the 10th time on lap 194. And then, with only 4 laps to go, Roger Ward was forced to slow down because of excessive tire wear, and Jim Rathman zoomed past on his way to victory.
All right, Jim Rathman's just kind of taking it easy here. Boy, I don't know what happened. Roger Ward is really fighting fingernails if he could. Here he comes now. He's dropping back considerably. Okay.
Here's the checkered flag for Jim Rathman, the winner of the 44th annual 500-mile race.
After coming in second 3 times, Rathman finally crossed the finish line first, and Luke Walton was there to welcome Jim to victory lane.
How do you feel after that most spectacular finish?
Pretty good. What happened to Ward?
You ran out of gas. You and Roger really put on a spectacular finish today. What were you thinking about the last 5 laps, Jim?
I was thinking that Roger Ward had a little more steam than what I did. And I figured it was all lost. My right front tire was down to the cord. I didn't know what to do. I just figured Roger had a little more horsepower than I did, and every time he wanted to, he could pass me.
Now stay tuned for more of the greatest spectacle in racing.